our third module that is held in September of 2025. So if you notice the cadence, each one of these are 3 months apart for the most part, and each one, there's one of the modules per quarter. So thermal treatment, we cover homogenizing of billets and ingots, pre or shape casting, preheating, annealing, stress relief, solution heat treatment, quenching, and aging. So, once we've deformed or shape cast the part, then it normally goes through one of these thermal treatments before or after. And interestingly, I think homogenizing in the last 2 years has been one where a lot of people have shown interest in, because it's not usually discussed on the plant floor, and how that process affects the microstructure and the downstream processing is really important to understand. So, but all of them are, covered, all of the thermal treatments, relevant thermal treatments that are typically used during processing of aluminum alloys. This section, I do most of the lectures and co-teach with Dr. Judy Rung, who retired from Apple a couple of years ago. She is a metallurgist who spent most of her career doing anodizing. So in addition to the thermal treatments, we have a half-a-day section on surface coatings and anodizing and surface microstructure for coating that Judy teaches. So our objectives in the thermal treatments: review the temper designations, learn about homogenizing and the microstructure, demonstrate how recovery, recrystallization, and grain growth occurred during annealing. We do a hands-on demonstration on quench rate and look at distortion, residual stress, and mechanical properties with different cooling rates. We cover all the solution heat treatment and look at different processing windows and the important aspects of solution heat treatment and aging. The final course is offered in November. So this is testing and properties. So this is, Secat's core competencies in the laboratory. And so in this one, we cover some of the basic training or basic testing like tensile, OES, and hardness. And then we get into other more complex test methods for formability. And then we also have sections on corrosion and fatigue and fracture. So we have Dr. Rudy Buckheit, who is the Dean of the College of Engineering at the University of Kentucky. He's also an expert on aluminum alloys, and before his administrative roles, he spent many years researching corrosion in aluminum. And my former advisor, Dr. Calvin White, he retired from Michigan Tech a few years ago, and he does the lecture on fatigue and fracture toughness. So the objectives here are a review of the grades and tempers, and then we look at chemical composition using optical emission spectroscopy. We do more fracture toughness and fatigue testing demonstrations. We want to understand the common metallographic sample preparation techniques. So in addition to the mechanical or testing and chemical testing, we do microstructure analysis. So we'll look at it, each student gets to polish their own samples and characterize their own microstructures. And we tie in, where we can, we tie in case studies in all the courses, case studies, laboratory experiments. Last year we did one that I associate with CLUE because we gave them some unknown samples and they used some characterization techniques to try and figure out which samples had which annealing temperatures or deformation processes. And then the other core objective in the tensile testing and properties is the formability. So looking at tensile R&N values and forming limit diagrams, bend tests, earring tests, and then review of corrosion, corrosion mechanisms, corrosion testing, and electrochemistry in aluminum alloys. So this next slide here shows some of the things we do during the year-long class. So I think, most of the students we get to know each other really well, usually by the second or third class. It's sort of like being in a, small college class. So like when I was an undergraduate, we had 20 students in our material science class, 25 maybe. And so we knew all each other and we spent time all together. So it's kind of like that experience. So not only do you get very good training on aluminum metallurgy and how processes affect the metallurgy and properties, but it's an experience. You get to meet faculty. We go out to dinner once every, one time throughout the week, each week. We've done tours of Buffalo Trace. You get the plaques, so you can see in the middle picture, they're holding up their little blue plaque that they forged, heat treated, and finished. And we had a grill out one time where we did beanbag toss. We did axe throwing. We go to a UK basketball game, and all of that is covered in the tuition. So we we make it an experience for the students, and we all have a good experience doing it. So here's a testimony from one of the participants. The course focuses on the changes that occur in the material during processing, helping students understand how process adjustments can affect the quality and identify potential causes for defects. I also had the opportunity to learn alongside an incredible group of industry peers and the amazing team at Secat. I highly recommend this course to anyone looking to expand their knowledge in the field. So again, it's the core technical program, learning alongside peers like you're in a college environment almost, and the staff and our guest lecturers that you get to interact with. And when I say college environment, it's not just like the college environment, because a lot of people bring their families. You can take they use it as an opportunity to take a vacation in the summer. Lexington is a very desirable place. It's to be in the summer. We have, the horses and bourbon and just a nice rolling hills. So it's just a nice place to be, to get away, to do the program. Okay. So switching gears into our other classes. So most of these other classes are shorter 1 to 3 day classes that could be either taught in person at our Lexington location, or we offer a virtual option in some cases. So Aluminum 101, this is a very high level course offered in February, and it covers bauxite mining to recycling and everything in between, and in the history of aluminum. So this is a 1-day course. My colleague Sridas, who you may have interacted with in the past, he teaches this class. And, it's a very good class for people that don't need a deep, detailed understanding of the metallurgy. So it may be someone coming from the steel industry that needs to know, starting out at an aluminum company, needs to know kind of the basics, or someone in sales and marketing that don't need to know all the technical aspects, but should have a feel for the basic processing steps in aluminum manufacturing. Aluminum billet and ingot casting, we've been teaching this one, billet casting, for about 5 or 6 years, maybe 7 years. We've done this one on site. We offer it every year as a group class. And this one really covers everything: molten metal treatment, ingot casting. We do have added some on homogenizing, some on DC casting, as well as continuous casting. A few years ago, we evolved our billet casting curriculum into an ingot casting, and this year we're going to combine the two and offer them as one offering, and just highlight the differences between billets and ingot casting and the quality aspects and concerns that occur. So this one is taught by both Sridas and Scott Goodrich. Scott spent his year working on ingot casting. We are very heavily focused on billet quality at Secat, and we support our customers in that area significantly in molten metal quality. So it'll be co-taught. That also, again, gives different perspectives and overall better teaching environment. This one is in April, and we purposefully scheduled this one to correspond with the Keeneland Spring Racing Session. So if that's a very good local thing, very interesting and exciting local event. So if you wanted to stay an extra day, you could attend the horse races at Keeneland. So if you're not familiar with it, And I only moved to Lexington, almost 5 years ago, but Lexington is where all the good racehorses are born and bred. The Kentucky Derby is in Louisville. So aluminum rolling is a new class, so we've kind of spun off what we've put together for the certificate program and combined it with some of our ingot casting and homogenizing curriculum, as well as what we had put together for our can sheet. So our aluminum rolling, it's a 3-day class in July, and this covers all aspects of rolling. This is led by Scott Goodrich. We also have guest lectures for other areas, specifically in the coating lines, and we are looking to supplement with process fluids and lubricants. So we'll have some guest lectures filling in those areas, but Scott will lead the discussion on the rolling portions. So this class is offered at $2,375 per person for the 3 days. This one will have hands-on demonstrations in addition to the lectures. So the course objectives here are to provide an introduction to metallurgical aspects of rolling, understand the ingot casting process and role of molten metal quality on downstream rolling processes, learn the mechanics of rolling, understanding interactions between heat transfer, lubricity, and thermomechanical work, looking at gauge profile and flatness, lubricants and coolants, sheet finishing and painting, and then again, hands-on demonstrations with analytical tools used to monitor product metallurgy and quality. Quality testing procedures in the lab covers our tensile testing, hardness testing, and OES, optical emission spectroscopy. And it really hits hard on following the ASTM standards and meeting ISO and NADCAP requirements for these test procedures. So this is a free offering next year in July. So we have about, I think, 2 or 3 seats remaining because of the hands-on aspects of the class. It's capped at 8 students per session. So if you're interested in this one, it's again free. So send us your information ASAP, or this one will probably fill up early in January. So here we want to understand when and why each test is performed, the equipment used to perform the tests. Again, we focus on ASTM standards with references to ISO, best practices and tips for ensuring accurate testing and with hands-on demonstration, reviewing of sampling rates, gauge capabilities and uncertainty, certification of results and ethical responsibilities. This class is good for quality technicians, quality engineers, metallurgists, and lab managers. I think this is our final class on the list, aluminum can stock. So this is sort of like our rolling class, but very much tailored to the can industry, the can body and can ends, and we talk about the can making process. This is led by Scott Goodrich again, and it's good for process engineers, quality managers, customer service representatives, and metallurgists that are, highly involved in the can sheet rolling and making and can making industries. So the introduction to the can manufacturing process and technical requirements for can sheets, basic metallurgical aspect, principles of aluminum can sheet, introduction to the relevant alloys, can sheet manufacturing processes. We look at rolling and annealing, E-ring, which is very important for the can making process, and understanding the relationship between product metallurgy and gauge flatness control. And then finally, we have a very detailed discussion on defects for can sheet. This course could be offered virtually. It is purely a lecture-based 2-day class offering, and the cost is $695 per person. So that concludes our summary of the training classes that we're offering in 2025. So please feel free to reach out to myself or Katie, or just send inquiry at info@secat.net, or give us a call at the number here. And we look forward to seeing you in Lexington in 2025.